Tiny turtles are helping researchers learn more about how they move when they hatch. Simple yet savvy devices attached to these hatchlings are showing how newborn turtles are making their way from their eggs and to the sand surface. So, what are we learning from the darkness?
So oftentimes when we think of the starting journey of a hatchling sea turtle, we kind of picture that frantic run for them to the ocean where they're, dodging swooping predators and everything. But at 3 to 7 days before that takes place, the hatchlings hatch out of their egg beneath the surface and they have to dig their way up out of the ground, and that can be a really arduous task for them. So that's the sort of part of their life that we're missing from the research. It sort of brings up a lot of questions like, how do they know which way is up? When they hatch, it's completely dark down there. We think it might be gravity that guides them. In addition to that, it can be a lot of energy for them to use, and they have no source of food down there. How do they conserve their energy in getting up out of that sand column? We want to get to the hatchlings as soon as they hatch from their eggs, or as close to that time as possible. So we check these hatching detectors every 2 to 4 hours. So within that 2 to 4 hour window, we can find out that they've hatched from their egg, and we can dig down about 30 to 80 centimeters into their nest. And we just take the first hatchling that's on the top of that nest, and we just use a special glue to put the backpack onto the turtle's back. We just put it back into the nest and carefully put sand back on top and bury it where we found it. Heron Island is a key rookery for green turtles. So the nesting season for green turtles there can start at around November and last until, I would say, late March, early April. So what we would do is we would go there about early December when the turtles were starting to come up and lay the eggs. And we would sort of pick some nests some natural nests that they laid to monitor. We would put temperature loggers within those nests. We can track when they're going to hatch based on those temperatures. And the incubation for those nests normally takes about 60 days. So once we have our nests, we would come back to Sydney and then come back in 60 days, about 3 or 4 days before we predict they would hatch. And then that's when we would set up our detectors and get ready to put the backpacks on. But we chose Heron Island just because there's a really great research station there, amazing facilities, and there's plenty of turtles coming up to nest there. So we only put one backpack on a hatchling within each nest, so 10 different nests, just to see if it worked. And then what I did this season, the following season after I did that, I've actually put in 5 backpacks in each nest. And that's important because the hatchlings have to work together to dig their way out. It's sort of not just this single hatchling effort. They kind of spread the work, or at least we think they would spread the work between each other. Another part of the research I've done is just with relocating the nest. It's a common conservation practice that's used around the world. So I wanted to see how relocating the hatchlings could affect them with that digging out stage. Characteristics of the nest, such as how deep it is. Do they have to dig out further, and are they using more energy? But if the nest is too shallow, are they getting the shelter they need, or is the temperature being affected too much? And even characteristics of the sand. If the sand's too dry, it can keep collapsing in around them, and that's what we found, that they were swimming their way out because the sand was behaving more like a liquid. But if the sand was moist, it would be more kind of compact, and they'd be scratching away at it. So it's just small details like these that could really change that important life stage. So this particular part of research started all the way back in the 1960s, but they didn't really have the technological capabilities that we have now to be able to observe this sort of crucial stage in their life. So it's sort of like a nice starting point to be able to employ this technology, to be able to answer these further questions that we have, and with that kind of adapt the best practices in conservation. Yeah, it's really just, we can build off of this to try and better understand what's going on in that crucial stage of their lives. Especially with declining turtle populations around the world, we sort of want to do the best we can.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what topics you'd like us to cover in the future.